Welcome back, everybody. If you've been following my work for any extended period of time now, you'll know that back when Mike Bossy was diagnosed with lung cancer on October 19th, 2021, I explained why we would likely be reading about his obituary in either April or May of 2022. And sure enough, we just got the news of Mike Bossy dying on April 14th, 2022, which was yesterday. His death was reported today, April 15th, and this death is connected, no doubt, to the 105th NHL season as well as the Stanley Cup Finals. So let's go through this. So Mike Bossy, the NHL Hall of Famer of the New York Islanders, drops dead at age 65 from lung cancer. And understand, if Mike Bossy really is dead, he didn't die of lung cancer. He was murdered, and it was the Jesuit order who is responsible for it. And if you stay the entire length of this video, you're going to see how it's undeniable. So, if you're new here, what I teach about is the language of gematria. It comes from Kabbalah. It has the belief that God created the world with letters, numbers, and words. And it's very important to the Jesuits who operate by this code every single day. This language of letters and numbers was brought back to the Catholic Church by the Knights Templar following the Crusades. Thus why the Jesuits have the Templar cross in their logo. So many Catholic high schools and universities are nicknamed the Crusaders. So many people that are the CEOs of companies and the heads of major corporations, owners of sports teams, so many of them are Jesuit and Catholic educated. So that's just a brief summary. Again, just understand the people that run your world, they're Kabbalists. They're into numerology. They're into gematria, this occult knowledge. So notice Mike Bossy, his full name, Michael Dean Bossy, sums to 65. This is the cipher that Manly P. Hall talks about in his book called The Secret Teachings of All Ages. That's a great read if you've never read it. He has several books on gematria. But that was the big reason why I thought Mike Bossy would not live to see his 66th birthday. I'm like, he's 65 years old. He's probably not making it to 66. So the New York Islanders, their franchise date was June 6th, 1972. And notice from June 6th, 2021, the Islanders' last birthday to the date he died was exactly 313 days later. 313, that's the 65th prime number. So the news of his death breaks today, April 15th, 2022. That's the 105th day of the year, just like how this is the 105th NHL season. So Bossy, his birthday's January 22nd. Notice he died 83 days later. That's not an arbitrary number. If you've ever read Zachary Hubbard's books at gematriaeffect.news, he has an entire book on death and the number 83 and how often this number shows up again and again and again. And lo and behold, here we are again. So Bossy died on April 14th. And in light of April 14th, that should remind you of the date the Titanic sank by the numbers. The Jesuit order sums to 144, and the majority of the world, including Montreal, where Bossy was born and died, writes the date April 14th, 14/4. Notice Jesuit orders 144. If you don't know how this cipher works, it's the alphabetic order. This is the cipher that's on the United States currency. It may very well be on currencies of the rest of the world, but I'm an American, and if you take any bill out of your wallet in the United States, you'll see things like this. J10, J's the 10th letter, E5, E's the 5th letter, S19, S is the 19th letter. This cipher is merely the alphabetic order like you were taught in elementary school. You know, they teach you A, B, C, and then underneath it is 1, 2, 3. They don't What they don't teach you is how the letters and numbers come together in this occult knowledge. But this cipher's on the U.S. currency. So, the Islanders last won the Stanley Cup in 83. Mike Bossy dead 83 days after his birthday. No, I'm not saying the Islanders are going to win the Stanley Cup. This is tied into the Stanley Cup. And just when I thought I had everything done for my Stanley Cup playoffs live stream that we're going to do on Patreon, April 29th, then this happens. I got to add this in, but that's okay. That won't take that long. So, have you ever seen the movie poster, Murder by Numbers, with Sandra Bullock on the cover? By the way, Sandra Bullock, her name's 83. Notice how they changed the E to a 3 and the B to an 8, right? 3-8 or 8-3, murder, sums to 38 and 83. And we're going to explain all of this in greater detail if you're new here. If you're a veteran here, this is going to be boring. But murder, when you run the alphabetic order in the English ordinal cipher, that's the alphabetic order. M, the 13th letter, U, the 21st, R, the 18th, D, the 4th, E, the 5th, R, the 18th, right? So you add that up, it sums to 79. Full reduction cipher is known as Pythagorean gematria, which is the same thing as ordinal, except you break every letter down to a single digit. So M is the 13th letter, right? So 1 plus 3 would be 4. U, the 21st letter, 1 plus 2 would be 3. R, the 18th letter, 1 plus 8 is 9. You know, D, the 4th letter, E, the 5th, they're already broken down to a single digit. Then R, the 18th letter, again, would become 9. Then the reverse alphabetic order is the same thing. Z is 1, Y is 2, X is 3, back to A is 26. And then reverse Pythagorean is the same thing. It's reverse ordinal. You're just breaking every letter down to a single digit. That's when you apply the rules of numerology. That's what the rules of numerology means. You break every letter down to a single digit. And I'm going to show you how all 4 of these numbers matter in light of Mike Bossy's death. So this might be a little hard for you to see, but notice the New York Islanders come in with 34 wins in the season, right? They got 34 wins on the year. Murder 34. Notice if they win tonight, they get their 79th points of the season. They're currently on 77 points. New York Islanders is 77 in the most pure cipher. But they have an opportunity to get their 79th points tonight. Now, in light of the 83, remember Mike Bossy, dead 83 days after his birthday, murder sums to 83. Notice the 38 Islanders is 38. And if the Islanders, notice their away record, they have 15 wins, 17 losses, and 5 overtime losses. If you don't know how the points work in the NHL, you get 2 points for a win, you get 1 for an overtime loss. So 15 times 2 is 30, plus 5 is 35. So they have an opportunity to get their 37th points of the season on the road. And notice how Mike Bossy sums to 37, Islanders sums to 38. Mike Bossy's last season with the Islanders, he scored 38 goals and had 37 assists. That was 35 years ago. Mike Bossy retired after the 1986-87 NHL season. So notice he wears the number 22, right? That was the number that he wore, the number 22. If the Islanders get their 79th points tonight, guess what 79 is? It's the 22nd prime number. Again, all of this comes back to mathematics. And like I said, Cancer's 37, so's Stanley Cup. And this is absolutely synced up with the Stanley Cup, which we'll get to on my Patreon page when we live stream the Stanley Cup playoffs April 29th. My Patreon, my Facebook, my Twitter, all those links to sign up or follow will be linked in the description. So, Mike Bossy was born in Montreal, Quebec. He also died in Montreal, Quebec. Look at who the New York Islanders play tonight. They play the Montreal Canadiens. The Canadiens and Islanders only play 3 times a season. And you got to ask yourself, what are the odds that Mike Bossy drops dead at age 65, which is not old? If you take care of your body, you can live long beyond age 65. What are the odds that on the day he dies, the Islanders just happen to be playing the Canadiens where Mike Bossy was born and died. Again, these are all of this stuff lining up this way. These are impossible coincidences. And again, well, look at the Canadians. Look at their record. We'll get to that in a minute. So Mike Bossy dead at 65 after battling lung cancer. Look at the Canadians' record, right? 20 wins. The word death is 20. They have 43 losses in regulation. If they lose in regulation tonight, they will get their 44th loss of the season. And notice lung cancer is 44. Cancer alone is 44. So is kill, chemo, medicine, hospital, military, trooper, officer, infantry, execution. They're all 44. So in light of him dying of cancer in Montreal, notice Mike Bossy 118, dies of cancer 118, in Montreal 118. Again, it all comes back to mathematics. So here's what I had said that had made me keep an eye on Bossy's death at this time in 2021, because the NHL season began October 12th. This news broke the following week, 7 days later. And I said then, we're probably going to be reading Bossy's obituary in either April or May as a tribute to the 105th season. And you can't get any more 105 than Bossy's death being reported in the 105th day of the year. So notice, from the day that he was diagnosed with lung cancer, October 19th, to the date he died, April 14th, was exactly 177 days later. Notice the Jesuit order sums to 177, and he dies on the date written 14/4, like how Jesuit order is 144. These numbers are very important to the cabal that rigs the NHL, the NBA, the MLB, NASCAR, the NFL, all these sports. They're all rigged the same way. So's your politics. So's all the BS going on with Ukraine right now by the numbers. And in light of 177, 177 is 261 in base 8 counting. April 14th, the day Bossy died, is the day leaving 261 days left in the year. So RIP to Mike Bossy. And we'll see what they do with that Islanders-Canadiens game tonight. But this is just further proof of murder by numbers. Mike Bossy's just been the latest victim. All right, guys, we'll leave it there. Till next time.